I just wanted to say thank you all for your support and your prayers and your love. Because while we were away, we knew in our hearts that you were with us and that you were praying for us and that we had your support. Because as we traveled and went to other churches, and not many, I would say, pastors get away. We even asked the ministry that we went to how often pastors do this. And they said, well, to be honest, they do, but a lot of times they're in a crisis and they're coming here for counseling and a time where they just feel depleted. And so I was so thankful that the Lord chose us and loved us so much that he would have his grace and mercy to just love on us and get away, that we could come and just get away with our beloved and sit with him and rest in him and love him. And we do, with all of our heart, love the Lord, and we serve him with all of his heart. But at times it can get weary because we are human and we can carry the burdens because we love and we love you guys. And so when we know the hurt and the pain you're feeling, we feel that. And so we go into prayer, and we pray on behalf of you guys. And so at times we, it just weighs on our hearts, and we can then get in, where we're not really resting in the peace of God. And I know for myself, this has been a difficult year as a mom because of Jacob and missing him and having him with his sickness. And I was so blessed to see him come last Sunday and share. Yeah. And when I first heard that he was going to teach, I just wept. But that's nothing new. I wept a couple times a week over my son. And God had grace not having me here, because I probably would have wept the whole service. Because anyone who's a mom, I mean, you have that mother's heart, and I'm sure you can feel what, I have felt. Even though with all my heart I trust that the healing is coming, I always say maybe it's taken a little longer so more people can join in prayer, so they can all reap the benefit of the answered prayer and seeing a miracle take place. That God's the same today, yesterday, and tomorrow, and so he's going to heal Jacob. But again, as that has weighed at me, and also, unfortunately, I don't know why I've been seeking the Lord for over a year, and throughout this whole fast, I don't know why, but I at times struggle with anxiety and panic attacks. I keep seeking the Lord on it. I go to Norm sometimes for counseling to work through and process through with that. And so I know in Jesus' perfect love, Jesus is my love of my life, cast out all fear. So through this struggle, I'm constantly, growing in my dependence on the Lord through this season. And so maybe this last season, you haven't seen me as much, involved in doing a lot, because there's a lot of soul searching and whatever God's doing in the valley to the mountaintop, he is with me. And I don't have to question it. I don't have to say, I can, because God's such an intimate God, so I can bear my heart with him and say why. Because he's such a loving father that he already knows anyway if I'm going to question. But in that dependency, though, Lord, saying, all is well with my soul, Lord, because I know you're with me. So through this journey that we were on as a wife, I had to at times pray and ask the Lord, like, through the season, and I knew some of the things Dave was talking about, maybe, that at times maybe I could tell that he should have a little more time of prayer in a day. It's funny, because when we first got married, we lived by the railroad tracks. And he used to take walks at night on the railroad tracks. And I used
Had great faith.
I used to say to him, you need to go take another walk on the railroad tracks. And I thought, that sounded so bad. I didn't mean it like that. But it was like his quietness, because if you do walk in the middle of nowhere, it is quiet and still. And so during that season, he has gotten away and did a lot of prayer, but because of appointments and counseling and studying and everything that goes along in his day, and so as a wife, I would encourage but pray, and so it was a blessing to see the humility, the transparency, the desire for him to want more and to not settle for less. And so I was blessed by that. And but for me personally, I guess continually being reminded that it's not with what I do. It's just being that the Lord delights in me, that He loves me, how precious I am to Him, and just the intimacy growing with Jesus. Also, I love to read. I love to journal. And I've been working on probably 5 times. I've tried to finish the Hind's Feet and Hind's Places, and much afraid. I guess I don't. If you read the book, you would know what that meant. But anyway, the main character is much afraid, and I never finished the book. And I was so proud of myself. I finally took the book and I finished it. So I read 10 books. I read through the New Testament. I journaled all the time, and so that was so refreshing for me because for me that was just sitting at the feet of Jesus and just hearing from Him, receiving from Him, and being blessed.